Welcome back, everyone, to the GOATcast podcast. I am CW, and today let's discuss Kobe Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba, one of the all-time greats. No matter where you put him in your top 10 to 15, just know he belongs in that range in the NBA. Having a phenomenal career that boasted 5 championship rings, an NBA MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, multiple All-Stars, multiple All-NBA and All-Defensive teams, a slam dunk champion. This impressive list reads like that of an absolute Hall of Famer, which he is. However, much like I talked about with Shaq, cheap plug, Kobe was primed to take the mantle that Michael Jordan left when he finally hung up those airs. He had every attribute possible to be what Mike was, and to take that blueprint and move it forward. Dunks, check. The shots, check. Defense, check. So with all that talent, did he eclipse Jordan as the 2000s rolled in? He didn't. Spanning 20 years in the league, Kobe nearly did it all, as those accolades suggest. However, for all those rings and hardware, he's still in the shadow of Jordan. Why, you ask? Well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons Kobe Bryant never quite took that torch and ran with it to the top of the GOAT list. But before we dive into those 3 reasons, please like and subscribe to the channel. Inching closer and closer to 500, and this labor of love can only continue with you guys' help. Thank you guys for viewing, and let's jump right into 3 reasons why Kobe Bryant never took the throne in his iconic 20-year run. For as good as Kobe was, there was one huge knock on him, and maybe one of the biggest reasons he was never able to be called the one. While imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, in this case, it wasn't. Kobe was definitely a student of the game. Being the son of Joe Bryant, former NBA player for the Sixers and a few other teams, Kobe was prepped and ready to be a member of the NBA in his early days, being exposed to the game and the league. Kobe was drafted into the league at the young age of 18. As one of the few high school players to leap over the college game right into the NBA. Drafted by the Charlotte Hornets in the 96 draft and traded to the Lakers that same night, my Hornets will never live that down. Kobe's entrance into the NBA was during the resurgence of Mike after a short retirement and subsequent return. During those years, Kobe would slowly gain as Jordan was eventually setting sail. But what many noticed is how much of Michael's game Kobe somewhat mimicked. I know. Basketball is a sport where you take bits and pieces from studying great players and their movement and hand positions and even stroke to basically elevate your game. So I get that. But Kobe himself said he idolized Jordan. Former teammates like Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel spoke on how he tried to emulate everything Jordan did, from the walk to the gum chewing. With such big shoes to fill, Kobe never quite was able to pass the master, aka Big Brother. While there were seasons where he looked like he might be able to take that torch and move it to an even higher standard, however, each time it looked like he was gaining traction, he just never could keep that momentum. The one thing Kobe did that he trumped Jordan in, and it's probably widely the reason he never filled those shoes completely, is shoot. A lot. We look back on Jordan's career and believe he was the ultimate volume shooter, but in this case, the case being compared to Kobe, he played closer to the rim. Jordan finished his career with a very respectable 49.7 field goal percentage. Meanwhile, Kobe finished his at 44.7%. And as Ric Flair used to say, if you're going to be the man, you have to beat the man. And missing shots at a higher clip than the one you're emulating and trying to surpass is just not the recipe to truly be next. Kobe famously or infamously, however you want to take it, finished his career having missed the most shots in NBA history. Luckily, LeBron is still around and gaining quickly to add that title to his resume. But it still goes to show that while Kobe was every bit as good as Mike during some of his peak years, he was no number 23. The second reason could pair somewhat with the first, and that's his attitude. While we give Jordan his flowers, and he was great at many things, he was not the greatest teammate. We've heard the stories, so no need to get into those, but while mimicking Mike on the court, Kobe at times mimicked his obsessive behavior behind the scenes too. Kobe, like Mike, was obsessed with winning. The guy that famously walked to the free throw line and shot his free throws with a torn Achilles knew they needed those 2 points and was going to get it whether in excruciating pain or not. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being motivated by success. That's something we all should strive for and take that Mamba mentality. However, that mentality can work against you as much as it can work for you. Kobe had the thought process that anyone playing alongside him had to have his mentality or they weren't living up to their end of the bargain. So he'd take it upon himself to try and win games. This led to internal turmoil between him and teammates, most notable Shaq and Dwight Howard. Both exceptional big men. Though Dwight wasn't quite the Orlando Magic Dwight due to several back injuries at the time, he was still a solid co-star that should have worked wonderfully with Kobe, but due to Kobe feeling like he was soft and didn't have the mentality needed to get them further, they never really bonded as teammates. He and Shaq, on the other hand, had the chemistry needed to not only win championships, but to three-peat in doing it. However, that was during the days when Kobe was the apparent Robin to Shaq's Batman. But as Kobe's status began to rise, he felt he was the leader of the team, and his sometimes forward comments eventually rubbed Shaq the wrong way. Among other things, and that once unstoppable duo became a disjointed mess as they failed to grab any more championships and lost to a well-coached but beatable Pistons in 2004. This, coupled with the first reason, kept Kobe from possibly surpassing Jordan in rings and putting even more stock in his GOAT resume. His penchant for reverting back to shot-happy Kobe through the years and distrusting Kobe had him missing playoffs at times when he was supposedly one of the best and solid players, not always wanting to play second fiddle to the Black Mamba. In a piece from an ESPN magazine article, anonymous Laker agents speak on how Kobe was basically causing the destruction of those current Lakers in the form that he was alienating would-be free agents with his ego and oftentimes blunt comments. Here's one of the quotes. Finally, much like what I had to say for Shaq never becoming heir to Air Jordan, the competition during his prime years was just too much for him to be the unequivocal best in the league. There was just too much talent and too many top-notch teams for him to be as dominant as Jordan, even though it felt like him and Shaq's Lakers had a chance. Therein lies the problem. Mike and Scottie were one of the greatest 1-2 punches ever. But Michael was always the Batman to Scottie's Robin. During their Laker tenure, Shaq was no doubt the man. While Kobe was undoubtedly an all-star and creeping into Black Mamba Kobe, Shaq was always the focal point of those championship teams. Kobe had the unfortunate or fortunate run with a 7-1, 300-plus prime Shaq, which basically overshadowed much of his solid play through those years, and him not taking home a single Finals MVP during that span. It also didn't help his case when only a year removed from his Lakers tenure, Shaq hoisted the Larry O'Brien once again while Kobe and the new-look Lakers couldn't even get out of the first round. Then you had probably his biggest foil as he was transitioning into his prime years, Tim Duncan. It still baffles me how Tim Duncan gets props, but they never seem assured or with as much emphasis as other greats. Duncan walked in a winner and pretty much left one, not missing the postseason once in his career. Tim Duncan and those Spurs being every bit of a challenge for those Lakers and even sending them packing in 2003 after their historic three-peat. Duncan would reach his 4th ring before Kobe, and they would both leave the game having the same amount of championships, while Duncan had one more MVP and one more Finals MVP. You can't really ascend above Mike if one of your rivals is bringing home more hardware than you are. I believe Shaq and Duncan hurt his ascension the most, especially in the early 2000s. When the NBA was primed for someone to take the spot Jordan left. While Iverson challenged some, it wasn't quite the contemporary that really hurt Kobe's claim due to his teams just never getting over the hump. However, a certain guy from Akron would enter during Kobe's run and snatch the spotlight quickly with his hype as LeBron James would quickly become a household name. And while he didn't eat that much during Kobe's heyday, he was only 6-16 against LeBron during their head-to-head matchups throughout their careers. Well, there you have it. 3 reasons the great Kobe Bryant never quite got to that next level and surpassed the rest of the pack to be the next GOAT. He absolutely was a monster in his day, and I take nothing at all from him. He just didn't quite meet the criteria. While I was an anti-Kobe guy during his days as a Laker, I always admired his game, and it really was a sad moment when we lost him in 2020. Forever one of the pillars of the game, we'll always appreciate the heart and soul Kobe gave to the game, and we will all strive to unleash that Mamba mentality. But what do you guys think? Do you think Kobe was in Jordan's league and even at times his equal? Let me know in the comment section. Also, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel. Only helps us out and keeps us able to make and improve on more content. Hope you enjoyed the content. Thank you, and be back very soon.